Okay, so here I am in a two-man, and I am playing Legacy Bug, and my opponent is Backyard, and he is on the play, unfortunately, but this is a good hand, so we're going to keep this. We would not like to mulligan. So this hand is not great. Obviously, having three planeswalkers is very slow, but we do have the Brainstorm and two fetches, so we will hold here and see what happens. Okay, so that's a pretty good opener. I think what we're going to do is we are going to play out our Deathrite Shaman, and we're going to fetch a swamp, because we don't really know what our opponent's playing. Oh, we can't, so we're going to go get a Trop Island. I should have played the Verdant Catacomb there. So minor error. I will say to whoever is viewing this video, I am relatively new to Legacy. I am typically a classic player by trade, so I've been dabbling a little bit in the last 4 or 5 days playing some Legacy. I've been in some two-mans, and of course it's not a whole lot different than classic, a little bit slower and some less powerful cards, but it's I've enjoyed it quite a bit, so we're taking it for a spin here, and we're going to see how it goes. So the question is here, do we want to wasteland him? And I would venture to say no. But we'll see what he does here, because we really want to be able to ramp into our spells. And so this is fine. He's going to take our Brainstorm, I suspect, here. I mean, if he was... now, it doesn't look like he's playing Show and Tell, but Liliana and Jace would both be very good there. So we did take our Brainstorm, which is definitely the right pick. And that's a really good draw for us, getting that. So what we're going to do is we're going to play another Deathrite Shaman. And this does allow us to use our Wasteland here on his Scrubland. So that is what we're going to do. And of course, we still got the Verdant Catacombs backup if the Deathrite Shaman does get Swords to Plowshare. So that's pretty good for us. And now we've got the Force of Will backup. So I'm quite happy with that, actually. Let's see here. Now let's get... I guess we'll go for an Underground Sea here. I don't see a reason not to. Try and get Liliana into play here. And I think we're going to +1. I don't see a reason not to. And so, Lingering Souls. That's a good one. So we played right into that, unfortunately. So the question is do we really want to Force a Will a Lingering Souls here? And I'm not sure that we do. I think that's just fine. You know, the power of what Jace brings to the table is far more powerful than Force a Willing a Lingering Souls. If we get a land here, we can get Jace out, which we did, which is great news. And we can pitch our Force of Will there. Or, see, here's the thing. We could Brainstorm, or we could bounce one of those. And I think that's counterintuitive to what we're trying to do here. And I think we will get a Bayou here. So our opponent's thinking here. You know, inversely what we could do is we could use Liliana to make him sacrifice a token. That way he's only punching for 1. Which is far less powerful. But yeah, anyways, back to Legacy. It's been I've been having a lot of fun, and it's a pretty diverse format. I've seen all sorts of different decks, and this bug deck that I'm playing, it's actually been doing really well against the metagame. I've found that I've won the high majority of the games I've played, so it's been pretty exciting that way. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna exile Verdant Catacombs, and we're gonna pop out a Jace here. And Jace is a pretty powerful guy, so let's hope this resolves. Okay, so we are going to make him sacrifice a creature here. And we'll hold our Force of Will, and we will brainstorm. And Notion Thief is actually not very good, I would suspect, in this matchup. And it'll be a card that we side out. But we will keep it for the Force of Will for now, and we'll play a Wasteland next turn. Okay, we use both our Planeswalkers. So that was a pretty good turn for us. We got some fodder for our Force of Will. We got rid of one of his tokens, and of course, most importantly, we got to Jace the Mind Sculptor down. Okay, so we won that one. And Abrupt Decay is probably pretty good against him. So let's take a look here. No, we've already established that Notion Thief is going to be pretty bad in this matchup. And we didn't really see much out of him. I suspect he's playing some hybrid of Stoneblade or Stoneforge Mystic. Flusterstorm could be okay. One of the things I've found with this deck, and outside of playing something like Dredge or Affinity, I haven't really actually had to do a whole lot of sideboarding. I've just found it to be a very level deck that I'm playing, and I haven't had to acclimate to too many things. I seem to be able to get into the game either way. Ancestral Vision has been an amazing card for me, whether I'm cascading into it with Shardless Agent or I'm just playing it on turn 1 or even turn 3 has been good for me. So, in reference to the deck, we just haven't really seen enough of what he's playing to make a big decision, but I feel comforted having the 4 Abrupt Decays in our deck if we are playing a Stoneforge Mystic build with equipment, and of course cards like Baleful Strix will hold Batterskull off all day. And yeah, I think we're probably in reasonable shape here. Maybe we want to bring in a Flusterstorm, or I could easily bring in Duress. Really not sure here. I think we'll just leave things as is. We'll bring in one card. Maybe we'll just bring in a Thoughtseize and see what we're dealing with that way. Yeah, I think this is reasonable. Let's see how it goes. Okay, this is a really great hand. The only thing missing is I would love to have another blue card in my hand to be able to pitch Force of Will, but that's okay. We are going to lead out with that turn 1 Ancestral Visions unless he does some amazingly broken turn 1. Probably going to get Duressed here, or Thoughtseized, looks like. Yep, which is fine. Probably take Force of Will here as my guess, but he may take the Ancestral Visions as well. Those would be my guess. Okay, so he did take the Ancestral Visions, and that is the correct card to take in my opinion. This hand is still quite good. although the Tarmogoyf is very vulnerable to Swords to Plowshare, which I have no doubt he is sandbagging. And Liliana actually is quite good too. So, and there is just the perfect draw. You know, Deathrite Shaman is a card that I have greatly grown to respect since playing Lacazette, in particular over the last week. It's just such a good card. It's incredibly powerful. It's so versatile. It ramps you out in the early game. It can deal damage to your opponents. It gains you life when you need it. It's just so good. Now, what I'm going to do here is, once again, I was going to say I'm going to go get that swamp, but however, you cannot do that with a misty rainforest. How ironic. So we will go and get ourselves a tropical island again, which is not a bad thing. We still got lots of lands here. And that's how we're going to start things. That's how we're rolling, baby. And next turn, if we are not disrupted, we are going to play, I think we're going to play Liliana and start attacking his hand. Okay, so we got STP'd again, which is not a surprise. And he's got his own death rate, which is fine. We'd like to see a blue card here. If we got, okay, that's great too. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to abrupt decay that right now. And if he plays a Stoneforge next turn, then we will have Liliana on board. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Just perfectly fine. And Abrupt Decay, another card I really like. It's a card that's seen a fair amount of playing Classic. It's shaken things up a fair amount. Yeah, so as suspected, we're going to get some use out of our Liliana here. Great, that we're happy about. And now we're going to go get a Bayou. So let's see how this goes here. I feel like we have an upper hand on the board having Liliana on the table. Okay, so there is another one. So I think what we're going to do is just play our second Liliana here. Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty good. See, what we could do here is I could tick up the Liliana, discarding a Brainstorm. Or actually, yeah, it's tough to say whether I'd want to keep the Brainstorm or pitch the Liliana. I feel like what we need to do here, because it's kind of a waste of resources. I'd really like to have a Force of Will Brainstorm up. But by playing this out, I'm making it vulnerable to an STP. But attacking his hand is no small thing. See, I could Brainstorm, then tick up my Liliana, and then play out STP. But I don't think I like that as much. My apologies, I had it on pause there. I really had to think about what I was doing. So I did not tick up this Liliana because these three cards in my hand are all extremely valuable. I've just played the second Liliana, and I'm going to make him discard sacrifices Tarmo. And now I have the ability to Force of Will something if I need to. I don't think he played a land last turn. Okay, so we got a Wasteland. Let's see what he's doing here. So Knight of the Reliquary is a really good card. I think I am going to Force of Will that. And next turn I can start ticking up my Liliana and I'll play my Tarmo. And this is where Liliana starts to get really good. Ooh, that's a nice card. Jeez, I don't know if I want to tick that up though. I think I just need to start making discard here, because I need the ability to get the sacrifice ability here. It's sad to do that. Really sad to do that. But I think I need to do it. And this is where, the viewers of this would probably have some insight as to how I'm using the Liliana. I am not an expert on this card, and it's a fine balance, I realize, between burning your own resources and your opponent's, but I feel like I'm in a really good board position here with Liliana and Tarmogoyf on the board. So he's pitched an Abrupt Decay, so that means my Tarmogoyf has no chance here of surviving, which means he's likely got a second one in his hand. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens here. Hopefully he does not have something like an STP and another Tarmogoyf to follow up, because then I have to burn my Liliana to get rid of his Tarmogoyf, and we're kind of all square. So, and this is fine. So he has. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would he pitch an Abrupt Decay? He must have an STP. Okay, well that was great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my Tarmogoyf now, and I'm going to force his hand here. So he pitched a Green Sun. So, I mean, this is the time of trial. He's got the Abrupt Decay, or he doesn't. I'm definitely confused. I can't imagine what he had in his hand that was worth discarding an Abrupt Decay. Very interesting. Okay, so there you go. We got a match. We'll take that one.